with Ray Hunter, and it is Wednesday, September 19th. I'm about to go upstairs and have class. Jade was just eating, so she's about done, so gotta go back and finish having class. But I had a witchy tip video ready for y'all, and it was talking all about teas. But I didn't like the way the video came out because I kept getting interrupted. I got too many messages. My phone was ringing. The house phone was going berserk. I was rushing because Jade had to go to ballet. So I was just really like, I kept getting interrupted. So I just like, forget it. And so I was watching the video last night. I'm like, I'm not putting this together because my train of thought was just thrown off too many times. And so I'm just going to redo the video and I'll post that for y'all next week. Maybe before, but for sure by next week. So anyway, this video, I'm going to just kind of throw it together really quick because it's something that I'm constantly saying all the time. And I just think that I just want to touch up on this. For whatever magical path that you follow, whether it's a religious path or just a practice, the foundation, just in my opinion, but the foundation and the universal language that we all speak, no matter what type of witch you are, is herbs. We all use herbs, spices, flowers, roots. That's something that we all use in whatever type of witch, whatever type of practice, that we do. I mean, even for different types of ceremonies all around the world, for religious or spiritual practices, they all use some form of herb, whether it's through an incense or whether an actual herb itself. Just Western medicine, so much of it is from herbs and plants. So my thing is like, if you want to be very good at your craft, and like I said, and whatever it is that you do, especially if you are one who does cleansings and cleansing and protection, or you're into healing, or whatever it is that you're like holistic type of stuff, or if you are one who's always casting spells, whatever it is, or if you're a person who likes to burn incense every single day like we all do, or if you're a person who drinks tons of tea like most of us do, it's so important to have that foundation, because without that foundation of knowing your herbs, you're not going to understand anything. Some people will ask me, well, hey, how do you put this spell together? I need a spell for this. And you can make your own spell. If you have the knowledge of your herbs, your roots, your spices, your flowers, minerals, if you have, information, if you have put in the time and dedication to understand your knowledge on roots, then you can create your own spell. You can make your own oils because you know what herbs you need. If you're sitting here trying to figure out, I need to do a love spell, what can I use? Okay, then you need to start, researching different herbs that you can use for a love spell. Okay, then you got the herbs. Okay, well, what I need to have an oil. And you're trying to go crazy ordering an oil when you can make your own oils. Because why? Because you know what herbs to use. And then, of course, knowing the difference in carrier oils. Some people say, oh, use grapeseed oil. Oh, only use this oil. Oil is oil. Yes, there are different properties in different oils because they're made from different things. But you have to learn how to, work with what you got. But with herbs, that's one thing you can't cheat. There are substitutions for certain things. If you don't have this, you can use that. If you don't have this spice, you can use this spice. So definitely having that knowledge. If you don't do anything but just study your herbs, your roots, your minerals, your spices, and I say flowers because I use flowers on different spells. Like, say for example, you're trying to do a love spell and you can use rose petals, or you want to make your own rose water, rose petals, or you're trying to make some type of protection for your fairies, you know, for your house, you're going to use certain flowers. If you're into Santeria and you're making a white bath, you're going to use certain white flowers. Things like that, you know. So there are so many different usages for flowers, and same with spices. You know, you use spices all the time when you use stuff like cinnamon. Cinnamon is a powerful spice to use. Cinnamon, or you want to use, you want to sit there and use red chili flakes, you know, that has a lot of great stuff. You're using salt in so many ways, and black salt. There's so many different spices that you can use in your magical practice. Same with roots. High John the Conqueror root is such a great root to use for so many great positive things in your life, you know. And then of course herbs. God, there are just so many herbs. And so, you know, and it can become overwhelming. You don't have to know these by memory, but you want to create an herb book, you know, some type of book. It doesn't have to be some fancy, you know, book of shadows. You could just get a spiral and start writing stuff down, you know, or get yourself whatever it is that you need to start writing down your herbs. And don't get stuff that you're never going to use. Like, why would you write down information on skullcap? You're not going to use skullcap anytime soon. You want to start learning and using the things that you would use on a regular basis. Like if you want to do a money spell every single month, or you want to do cleansing in your house every month, or protection every month. Those are the things that, you know, that are a must. Cleansing and protection, those things are a must. So you definitely want to look into those herbs first. If you're trying to do something because you want to do peace and tranquility in your home. So what I'm saying is start putting things in your book, writing things down, learning about things that are going to be useful in your life, and not just getting these herbs and stuff that you're never going to use. I'm not saying don't research on those and don't put those down. I'm just saying take baby steps and start doing the things that are going to serve you some type of purpose in your life at this point. But you know, I do get that a lot where, hey, I need a good spell for this, or do you have a spell that I can use for that? Or like, what am I, like the dictionary? Like, am I Google? Like, I didn't know I was Google. Like, you got a phone just like I got a phone. Like, you're texting me and asking me for, do you have a spell for this? Well, I don't get it. Like, what makes you think that I have all the time in the world to look up and create something for you when you can do it yourself? I don't mind helping people, but there's a point where people start taking advantage, and I don't like that. And so sometimes I don't even respond to things, because it's better for me just not to say anything. Because I will say something that will hurt somebody's feelings. And I'm just like, look, and you know, these people could be nice people. It's just like, you got to put on your big girl panties or your big boy panties and figure this out yourself. You know, and so if you take the foundation of herbs, you know, and herbs and roots, minerals, flowers, spices, you know, if you learn that first, if you take that upon yourself, don't sit here and try to learn all these crystals, trying to learn all the sabbats, trying to learn, you know, all this, all that, you know, that's all great and dandy. But the foundation, people always ask me all the time, hey, I really want to study witchcraft. How do I even start? What do I even do? I always tell them two things. Number one, start reading about the history of witches. Know where you're coming from. Know what it is that you want to represent, okay? Because if you are going into witchcraft and you have no clue of the history of witchcraft, how are you going to represent all of us? When somebody asks you, oh, you're a witch, so what does that mean? And I'm like, what's that mean? And you have no fucking clue. It's like, well, we like to create spells. We like to drink tea and burn incense. Wonk, wonk, wonk. Like, come on. You can do better than that. You know, and so my thing is like, we already get a bad rap as being witches. We already get talked bad about. You are the devil lover. If I get another freaking message about me being the fucking devil, my thing is like, look, if y'all really believe I'm the devil, shouldn't you stay away from me? But I'm just saying, you know, I am not the devil. Although at times I sure do feel like, ugh, but I'm not. You know, I'm just saying that if you know, there are so many people already who give us such a bad rap, and they think that we are all devil lovers and we are all in here boiling children and, you know, hexing people every day, and we're doing this and we're doing that. And my thing is like, you don't even know what we're doing. You don't even know what being a witch is. So my thing is like, if you are going to become a witch and you say, hey, this is my calling, I am a witch. I'm trying to plug up my phone. I'm a witch. This is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Great to have you on the team. However, you need to study the history of witches. Know what it is that you are representing. It's kind of like when you take a job somewhere. You have to learn what you're doing. You have to represent that. If you go to school to become a nurse, when you put that uniform on and you go to work, you're representing a nurse, a healthcare worker. And if you don't know anything about it, what are you doing here? You know, so my thing, this is no different. This is not a phase that you go through. It's not like, oh, it's a cool thing to be a witch, you know. No, yeah, it's a very cool thing to be a witch. However, a lot of us witches are witches every day. This is not something that we just want to call ourselves today. We are a witch every single day, from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. We do something witchy in our life every single day, even if it's just burning incense or lighting candles for whatever altar we may have going on, or whether it's carrying a crystal every day because you're going to go to work and you feel like it's going to be stressful. Let me carry this crystal because I know this one's going to help me. We are witches every single day in everyday things that we do. And so, but every well-seasoned witch, as I love that term, every well-seasoned witch, you know, knows that it has a lot more to do in being a witch than what some people showcase themselves as being. There are a lot of showboats out there, and they will have the, you know, like they will show videos on their Facebook, post pictures of this magical place, you know, like everything in their house is just all like, there's so many candles lit every day and all these crystals all over the place and these incense burning, and, you know, certain sage bundles are laying on their, wherever this that they're showing, and, you know, taking pictures of themselves like frolicking through the woods, trying to look like a fairy with all these phone apps, like, you know, putting glitter around them and shit. That's not what it's like. That's not what it's like. Every day, that is not what it's like. That might be for their showboating, for they're trying to showcase themselves to be in something. They want to show an illusion. But that's not really what being a witch is. That's not what magic is. That everyday witches, we have like this. My hair's in a knot. We are doing homeschool, cleaning the house, paying bills, running kids back and forth to whatever they got to do, cooking dinner, cleaning, you know, washing dishes, husband's going to work, or if it's a male witch, you know, he's doing his thing. We don't just all walk around dressed like witches. We don't all walk around with, you know, tons of witch rings and necklaces on and showing that, oh, we're all, you know, witches and wearing witch clothes and a fucking cape all day long and, you know, with pink glitter, you know, shooting out of the back of our heads and stuff. No, that's not what it's like at all. And so we get bad raps in a lot of ways. We get bad raps as in we're this fucking Mary Poppins, you know, la la la, running around the backyard. Can you imagine me in my backyard, la la la, running around with all the fairies, you know, and me pretending that I'm a fairy, getting my fucking ears altered to look like a fairy and dyeing my hair, you know, white and gray and pink and all that shit, and wearing this little sassy dress and running outside barefoot like, I'm just going to sit here against this tree and I'm just going to like pose and look beautiful. My fairy's probably like, what the fuck this bitch doing? What's she doing? That's supposed to be us? I'm just saying, you know, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but my thing is like, that's not what we are. You know, I'm just like, taking pictures and showcasing a certain thing, that's fine and dandy, because everybody is their own unique person, and this is what you want to show the world of you being great. Great. However, if you are going to showcase yourself as a witch and you're going to represent witches, you need to know what it is to be a witch. Witches don't go outside dressing like fairies and frolicking outside and posing against trees and making us look like, you know, we live in dreamsicle land all day. I would love to live in dreamsicle land all day. I don't even know if that's a word or really like a world, but I'm just saying, like, as my husband says, cupcakes and unicorns. I would love to have cupcakes and unicorns every day, but that's just not reality. Reality is right now, like, Jade's looking at me like, what the fuck are you taking so long? Because, well, she's upstairs. Not that she wants to run back to class, but I got to get back to finish school. And, you know, I got to finish cleaning my closet upstairs. So my thing is like, you know, I don't got time to run outside, you know, but being a witch is not just that. And it's not just this over here where they showcase us as being, you know, devil lovers and boiling children and making spells all day. That we're not that. We're not that. You know, we have to have a happy medium somewhere. And again, you can do whatever you want. If you want to sit there and tell people you boil children and, you know, you love the devil, that's great. That's great. That works for you. If sister over here wants to be outside running amok with the trees and shit, that's great. But when somebody sits there and asks you, what is a witch? You know, you're a witch. What is a witch? You better have some fucking great answers that are going to represent all of us. Because whatever you say, it represents us all as a collective. Even though I'm nowhere as crazy as this bitch. I'm crazy, but not on that level. And I like some dark shit, but not on that level. I'm somewhere by myself. And so my thing is that when you talk about witches, no matter if you're number 1, number 2, or number 3, it represents us as a collective. Oh, them motherfuckers are crazy. You know, we're it's kind of like that. Like, I need to stop cursing, sorry. But it represents us as a collective. And it just, the stuff just bothers me because it does, like I said, there's no rule on what type of witch, or there's no rule to how you should be as a witch. There's no rule to whatever type of witch you want to be. There's no rule on what you can be or what you want to showcase or what you want to do, or if you want to use sage to do something completely different than what it's for, then you go for it. That doesn't matter, because you can be, you can be whoever you want to be. But when somebody asks you, what is a witch? What does that mean? You need to have a great answer that is going to represent us all as a collective, because that's how they're going to see us. They just throw us in one big pot. And so, in whatever you are different than, you know, on your own, that's up to you. But I'm just saying that, how does this help with me saying that you should know the foundation of is herbs and all that? I'm just saying that when you are, when you know the history of being a witch, you know, you're able to better represent us. That's one of the tips that I'm saying by when people ask me, what do I do? What's the first step about being a witch? And that's the first step that I always tell them. Read the history of witchcraft, you know, witches and witchcraft. Know what it is that you want to represent. Know what it is that you want to be part of. you know, because we have a lot of people out there that are representing us completely wrong. So that's the first step that I always say. Learn what you're representing. And the second tip is just knowing the foundation of knowing your herbs and your roots, your minerals, your flowers, your spices. Knowing that is the foundation of your practice. You cannot do a spell. You cannot cleanse a house. You cannot protect yourself. You can't do a love spell, a healing spell, make a tincture, make a salve. You can burn incense, but you're not going to know what the hell you're burning it for. But there's so many things that you can't understand what you're doing if you don't know that knowledge. So if you know that, if you base your knowledge, and they say, well, what's the second thing that I do? Know your herbs. Get a book on herbs. Or if you can't afford a book, look it up on Pinterest. Look it up online. Everybody got a phone. Everybody has a phone or access to a phone. If you can't buy a book, go to the library and check out a book. There are so many different books on herbs. You don't have to buy what everybody else is buying. Start baby steps. You don't have to start, jumping in and getting all these things. Just start small, and start really understanding. See, in homeschool, after I'm done with teaching her regular school, we have witch school. In witch school, it maybe only lasts for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, depending on what I'm teaching. Like tomorrow, she's going to learn about cinnamon and she's learning about sage. And so I'm teaching Jade not only the history of witchcraft and witches, but she's learning herbs. Herbs and roots and spice, because that's the foundation for me. That's in my opinion. God dang, if this phone don't stop ringing. It really is nobody. But anyway, that's just my tip. That's just my tip. If someone asks you, I want to be a witch, what do I need to do? Start with the history. Know what you're representing. And number two, know your knowledge of herbs and roots and minerals, spices, flowers. Know that, because you don't have to sit there and depend on buying a book on spells or wanting somebody to help you with a spell or paying somebody to do a spell for you. Because if you know how to use these things, you can create your own. And that is the purest power that you can have. They always say knowledge is power. In witchcraft, yeah, knowledge is power. In everyday life it is. But I'm saying in witchcraft, knowledge is power. And if you know your herbs, you got it. You know what I mean? Like, you'll know. How do you think these witches that you're paying hundreds of dollars to do a spell for you, how do you think they know? Because they know, they have that knowledge. They've taken the time to learn what it is that they're doing. That's how they know how to put spells together, because they know what to use. You want a love spell? Okay. All right, I'm going to charge you. I don't know how much they charge for a love spell, but you know what? If they took the time and the dedication and put the hard work into learning their craft, then yes, they deserve to be paid. Because there's so many people out there that just don't want to do it. They want the easy way out. And so they'll either want to follow somebody's, spell all the way down, which is fine. It's just fine. But instead of just, like, I don't know how to make my own spells. It's because you don't have the knowledge of knowing your herbs and roots and spices and minerals and all that stuff. Like I keep saying, it's so important. Because if you ask any well-seasoned witch, they're going to say, oh, you want a love spell? Okay, this is what you're going to use. And they can list you. Or if you just go up to a well-seasoned witch and you ask them, hey, what herbs can you use for a healing spell? They'll be able to list you at least 10 right off the hand. Or if you say, hey, what can you use for protection? Boom, they're going to tell you. Boom, 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 boom. What can I use for a love spell? Boom, 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 boom. What can I use for a hex? What kind of hex? What are you trying to do? Okay, I'm trying to do this. Boom, 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 boom. Because they're going to know. Not because they practice these on an everyday basis. It's because they have the knowledge from knowing their herbs and roots, minerals, spices, flowers. I say that because I use all of those. And once you learn your herbs, learn your carrier oils. Know which carrier oils to use. Some people like to use grapeseed oil for their money spells. Some people like to use, olive oil. Some people like to use this oil. Know the difference in your carrier oils. You don't have to monkey see, monkey do. Know for yourself. Research yourself and know what works best for you and your spouse. And once you learn, then you won't be overwhelmed. You're like, I want to grow my own herb garden, but I don't know what to plant. So just know that when you plant stuff, it's going to grow like crazy, and you're going to need to harvest. Your plant's going to want you to harvest it so it can produce more. So you're like, oh my gosh, I made this huge, basil plant, and I don't know what to do with it. So if you're not harvesting, your plant is going to stop producing. So it wants you to pick it. That's what it does. It can't create more unless you're picking. And so you only plant what you have knowledge of. If you are not going to use basil, then where are you going to grow it? If you're not going to use dill, why are you growing that? If you're not going to use rosemary, why are you growing that? Plant things that you know you're going to use in your practice. And so, it's so easy to grow herbs. It really is so easy. I have had so much fun growing my herbs, and I use them all the time. I'm constantly picking and drying, and once they're dry, I can store them. I use them for culinary purposes, I use them for magical purposes, and I use it also for medicinal purposes. But I'm only plant certain things because these are the ones that I use the most. So I'm not going to plant something like, why would I plant jalapenos? I don't even eat spicy food. When I want to do malicious work and I may need a jalapeno, I need one. I don't need like 100 that plant's going to make. Well, what am I going to do with them? I just go to the store and get that one. So, I plant things that I know I'm going to use. So anyway, those are just kind of some tips. I mean, I'm telling you guys, if you're going to go and buy a book also on herbs, try to get a book that has photos and not drawings, because it's so hard to distinguish what a plant would really look like with a drawing, unless it's a very good drawing. I always pick photos for crystals, herbs, and all that, because you need to be able to recognize that herb. Like if you're gonna go and you're like, what, like what I'm teaching Jade, is like, if we're going out, she'll be able to look at something and say, oh, that's rosemary, because she can visually recognize that from the photo that I showed her. That's rosemary, and this is what we can use it for. I'm teaching her how to visually see it, like growing wild, how to plant it, and how to use it medicinal wise, how we can use it culinary wise, and how we can use it magically. And so for me, teaching her those three things, that's her only knowledge that she has with rosemary. She only knows how to use it those 3 ways. Those are 3 important ways. And so she may only know 1 or 2 things from each thing, but she has a basic knowledge of it. And so that's what I'm just saying. You want to use photos, because that way you can take it and you're like, oh, I know what that is. That's mint, or that's sage, or because there's so many things that our world creates. So also, once you start learning herbs, it's going to be so much fun, because then you can Google up what grows wild, wherever you live. Let's just say you live in Texas. What grows wild in Austin, Texas? And then it'll give you a list of plants and flowers and all that grow, and about what time this plant is like what season. So then well, you know what? Right now rosemary's in season. I'm going to go and harvest some, and go find it out in the wild and harvest some. You don't have to spend tons of money ordering your herbs when you can go and pick it for free. But you're not going to be able to benefit from harvesting if you don't know what the fuck you're picking, and you want to stay away from poisonous stuff, because and also when you're learning about herbs, before you pick some rosemary, you're like, oh, I'm going to pick this rosemary and I'm going to make me a tea. Know your knowledge on herbs. Herbs can heal you, herbs can kill you, because they are so strong. The essential oils are fantastic, but you have to be careful with certain things. You can't ingest herbal teas when you're pregnant, because it's bad for your baby. It's not going to kill you, but it could do damage to your unborn child. You can't use certain essential oils directly on your skin because it's like acid, you know, so you have to be careful. That's why when you make teas, there are certain times of how long you steep your tea, because you just can't leave that in there. You know, it could do damage to you. So you have to be really careful with herbs. Herbs are fabulous, but just with like everything, it has to come with precautions. And so you're only going to know those things by doing your research and reading about it. Don't just know that you can use, you know, rosemary for this. Know the history behind the herb that you're picking. Know whether or not it's poisonous. Know that not only how you can use it magically, but why not learn every ability every benefit that herb can give you. You know, so this way you can grow in your practice. You can grow as a witch. You know, knowledge really is power. So you don't have to sit here and depend on someone else. You don't have to have a special book to write all this stuff in. Just get you a regular notebook. Let me show you what I got. I keep this right here because I work on my herbs all the time. I bought this regular binder, and you guys know I have tons of fancy books of shadows, but for my herbs, this is what I use. This is just a piece of scrapbook paper with a dried flower and a regular binder, and they're all listed A through Z, and that's exactly, they have all by divider in A's. And so I have what the herb is. I wrote on here what the herb is and with the folk names of it, if it's poisonous, the gender, the planet, the element that it represents, any deities that this herb may, you know, be recognized with, or you can use it for this deity or god or goddess, the magical uses behind this, medicinal usages behind this, if you can eat it. So I have everything in alphabetical order, because if I put it in a book of shadows, I'm never going to find it. And with herbs, you are always constantly adding and taking things out. And so when it's really easy. If someone says, hey, how can you use, you know, sage? You know, you can look under S. How to use lavender? Oh, you can look under L. How do I use echinacea? Okay, look under E. You know, they're all in here. And then not only do I put those things, but if I have a particular spell that I'm going to use, I'll put it in here. You know, and if there's tinctures, then those tinctures are going to be in my, I have a home remedy book. And so I have all my tinctures in there and how to use it to, like, for, if it's like a health benefit, it goes in there. But like spells and stuff will be in here if I'm going to use it for a particular spell. But this is where I keep all of my herb stuff, because you're going to see, like, eventually I'll need to get a bigger one because it grows. So I can't do a fancy book for herbs. This is what I use for my flower book. I just got this regular thing, and it's like my book of flowers. And this one is there's nothing fancy about it. I just wrote like sunflowers, all the information on sunflowers. Again, the folk name of the flower, you know, the planet, the gender, the element, and the powers. What can you use sunflowers for? Or, you know, you can use for fertility, wishes, health, and wisdom. And then I have magical usages of sunflowers, and if you can use it medicinal wise, or you can use it culinary wise. And then again, like, I just have another one, dandelion. Like, this isn't nothing fancy. This is just information, because this is what I need. I don't need, you know, to have some fancy book of shadows for that, you know, because I just need to know basic information. Now, I do have other books, you know, like this one. This book here, this is my hoodoo book. In my hoodoo book, I do have other things in here. Like, I have some things in these, like, these have, like, spells in here with certain things. I have a lot of written information in these. These I do decorate with just, like, photos. But basically, these books are meant for information. Like, I do have some spells in here, and I'll tape some stuff in. I'll show you all these when I do my book of, I'm going to do a Book of Shadows video and show you all of my different books and how I'm using them. But I'm just showing you, like, that type of book wouldn't work for my herbs because it's just, I won't know where anything is. So I have it in a binder. This is my home remedy book. This is like my doctor book. And then this one is where I write like everything. Like I have a big section in here for rosemary. Everything that goes in here is for medicine, medical usages only. So if you're looking for rosemary and you want to know how you can use rosemary magically, of course you're going to have it in here. And in here, under rosemary, under R, I have rosemary. I have a bunch of information on it. And then I also have under here, if you're looking for medical usages, you know, like different recipes, you look in that book. Because that's how I do it. You can do it any way you want. You could do it in here if you want to as well. But that is my book that I go to when any of us are sick, or I need to make a tincture, or I need to make a salve, or I go to that because that's where I put all of my medical things. Get down. Ooh. Freaking cat. Do you hear that? He is on my freaking screen. Those are those little wild cats outside that I've been feeding, little bastards. They still don't let me touch them. Anyway, we're not talking about that right now. All right, I'm going to go because I have to go get rid of this cat, and I have to go have class. But that's just my tip. My tip for this week is please, guys, please learn your herbs. And I'm telling you, if you spend the time to learn your herbs and your roots, you know, and your minerals and flowers and spices, you are going to grow so much more in your practice. And I don't care if you just decide to do one herb a month. However you need to learn it, whatever way that you document it, as long as you have that knowledge, I mean, you're going to grow more and more and more. And it's going to become so much fun for you because you're going to be able to do so much with that knowledge. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go because I got to go back to school and I got to go deal with this cat. All right, guys, as always, love you all and blessed be. Bye.